Hello and welcome to Just Tech Talk. In this channel, I talk about different tutorials, walkthroughs, installation videos, troubleshooting videos. I do reviews of some products and unboxing of the products. If you are new to this channel, just click on subscribe and turn notifications on so that you get the notification about all new videos. So in this tutorial today, we are going to look at little tweaks on the form which we created before. So if you remember from the last videos that I have created VPN request form. So that was quite static form. So now today what we are going to do is we are going to put some restrictions, some mandatory items and things around it. So to do that, we need to go to our administration panel. So I'm going to go in our administration panel. In administration panel, if you see, we have layouts under user interface. In that we have dialogues, and inside dialogues I have my VPN form over there. I have already actually filtered it to show me the VPN form. So if you click over here and go to change layout, now what we are going to do is maybe I would like to make this first name and last name as mandatory field for anybody who's filling up this form. This is pretty simple. We'll click on text box over here and change this to required. Same you will do for any field which you want to change it to, basically to show you the mandatory error message or mandatory pop-up inside the form. So this is one thing which we are going to do is. Now second thing, I'm looking at the VPN request and I know that the VPN request cannot be before today's date because it has to be from today at least onwards. It can be any date for future but not from today. So what I'm going to do is over here, I'm going to go to my context and I'm going to create one context for me which says today's date. It has to be date because I'm looking at the date value. Over here I'm going to write the JavaScript. You can easily find JavaScript by just writing JavaScript to get today's date. It's pretty simple. You can get a lot of JavaScripts for that. So I'm just going to copy this from here and bring it to this place. So now what I have done, I have defined a variable named today, which is storing the value of today's date. And I'm going to return this in this context. I'm going to save this. So now I've saved my context. Next thing is to assign this to my minimum date. So the start date minimum should be today's date context which we have created. Same goes for maximum date. It cannot be below today's date. Alright, and later on maybe we can see if it is less than, it should not be less than the start date, or it should not be greater than the end date, and so on and so forth. But that's something which is little advanced and we can see in future about that things. So now for this part, let me publish this form now. Alright, when I publish, it gets saved automatically as well. So now if I go to the user side for user experience, I'm going to click on VPN request. Let me just expand it. I'm going to click on add to cart. Now if you see over here, it shows me my first name and last name is mandatory. And moreover, if I go and select date, you will observe that I cannot select anything before today's date. I can select anything after today, but not anything before today. And even I cannot select any time which is before current time. Alright, So this is how I can simply make fields mandatory, and how can I restrict date to be start from specific date or end by specific date. Cool. Now let's look at if I want to show these dates fields only when create access is selected. If date access is selected, then of course I don't need to have the start date and end date, right? They are there unnecessarily. So for that case, for now, if I select delete access, the date is still there, right? So let's say I don't want it. I only want it when create access is selected, then these date values should appear for me, and then they should become maybe mandatory to be selected. So now to do that, first thing what I would need to do is I need to basically understand what is the picker which is used for this particular thing. So my picker is VPN request form, user request type. So I'll have to go to check the value of this picker first, because this is based on decimal values, numerical values. So we need to go in here to the definition, pickups, and I will look for VPN. And you see my request picker is there. I'll click on edit over here and figure out what is the value of create access. So if you see, the value is 5. Just note this value over here. Okay, so this is 5. Now we'll go back to this. Again, we'll create context over here, add property. This time I'm going to select request VPN request type checker, and I need to return boolean because I need to true and false, because I need to show or hide. All right, so now I'm going to pick up this from my form, my request type over here. Now I need to look here for if dot dollar value. If you don't know what this dollar value is, you can see over here, it will always check for the current value of that parameter, equals to 5 return true, else return false. So now what this is doing, it is checking the value of UD request type dot value. Okay, and checking if it is 5. If it is 5, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Now what I'm going to do is, if I go here in this place, I will make this visibility based on this context which I have created, and I will make it mandatory based on same as well, because if this is selected, then it should become mandatory as well. So what I'll do, I will put mandatory for end date, but not for minimum start date, just to show you the difference. So if you see over here, this is not mandatory, and This one shows mandatory. Let's publish this form now. And let's go back to John Wick. Just refresh. Click on VPN request. Add to cart. And if you see, my dates are not showing. If I select request type as create access, immediately you can see the start date and end date is showing. But as I said, end date will become mandatory, start date will not become mandatory as per my selections over here. Now if let's say I want to make this as mandatory as well, so I will change this required to same context, publish, go back to form, relaunch it, and if you see dates are not showing, if I change it to create access, it appears and both are mandatory, and if I change it to delete access, again they vanish. And if I select now create access, you will observe that both states, these fields are mandatory. So this is how you can play around with your form, do certain restrictions and much more in those forms, which probably slowly and gradually we'll look into. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked the video. Hit the like button, leave a comment below to let me know what do you feel about this video. And till next video, take good care of yourself. Bye.